and welcome to May Isolation. Tonight's race is all about talent spotting. More about that in a moment. But first of all, yesterday I caught up with our April Isolation champion, Felipe Dragovic. Okay, Felipe, thank you so much for joining us. First and foremost, a huge congratulations, the very first title holder of April Isolation.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to race in the championship. Of course, during these tough times is the best way we can keep, especially our head fit, our mentality during the races fit, and keep it going the active way. And I'm very happy to win that. It was a little bit of a surprise for me, but I'm very happy with that.
What I want to talk to you about quickly, Felipe, is the importance of the sim, because this is a time where we're seeing people racing, but it's not just gaming. For you guys as professional drivers, this is crucial for part of your training.
Yeah, for sure. It's nowadays. I think even before the lockdown, it was already very important for my side. And I train at home. My sim is, let's say, it's a good sim, so I can focus on my driving. I use data, the telemetry on my driving, so I can improve also my driving at home. So, and after that, now in this situation, it's even more important for sure. So I think it's very important for the driving, also like for the driving side, but mostly in this part, I think it's really good for keeping the driver active, or how should I say, just keep going. And that racing mentality is very important, not to lose the rhythm. So I think this is the most important thing now.
I guess for you guys, it could have become a year where you lose all of your rhythm and lose perhaps touch with some of the feeling in being in the car and being behind the wheel. But with that sim, it allows you to stay focused when we hopefully, fingers crossed, will be back out racing again.
Yeah. Hopefully we can be back out hopefully in July or something. But yeah, I think this for this moment, what I've done and what most of the drivers are doing is just keep driving, keep doing this championship. And I think not only driving is the focus, but also competing, like in races like this, and these championships are really nice for the drivers because they keep the let's say the competitive mentality going. So it's really nice, and I think it's gonna pay off for the first races this year.
Well, it's certainly been great fun watching you out there on the e-racing platform, and I wish you the best of luck for the May Championship. Thank you once again for joining us. Enjoy the racing. Enjoy your first day outside on isolation as well. This is in Italy. It's the first day you've been allowed out, isn't it?
Yeah. First day I've been allowed out, so it's quite nice now. I can do some fitness outside, so which is really good. But it's not gonna take me away that much from the sim. So I'll be back in the championship in May, and hopefully we can do a good job there too.
Excellent stuff. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you later on in the race. Cheers.
Yep. Thank you very much. Bye.
Well, he is racing with us again tonight, and among all of our drivers who are hoping to be spotted for their talents, we have former Renault F1 talent scout Enzo Mucci standing by, and he will pick his top drivers who will then be guaranteed an entry into the opening race of the May Isolation e-racing series, which begins next week. Tonight, we are at the American roadway mecca, Watkins Glen. So without further ado, let's cross over now to our race commentators.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the May Isolation Qualifier. After the success of the April Isolation Series, we've come back to do it all again. This time we are going to be moving to May, of course. To talk you through the action is myself, Chris McCarthy, Sam Fitzpatrick and Jack Canaan. Well, Jack, Sam, you guys were here all the way through the April series. It was a fantastic series, wasn't it, altogether? Some fantastic racing, huge grids. We've got drivers from all different formula racing against each other on circuit, and it's going to be great now to do it all over again.
Absolutely, Chris. Thanks for joining us. And we hope that you're all settling in for this fantastic second rendition of the Isolation Championship. Of course, today is just the qualifier round. So the drivers will earn a place on the grid in this format. But Sam, I mean, it took us a little while to calm down after the finish of the championship finale, just a week or so ago. I mean, that must have been replayed over 50 times on my PC alone.
Absolutely, it was absolutely crazy, wasn't it? And the championship actually decided after the race was even done. There was a post-race penalty, everything you could have hoped for in that race. Great battling, great overtakes, lots of controversy. We always like a little bit of that. It's a lot to live up to, but looking at the drivers that we've got involved in this race, I dare say that this May Isolation may just better the Isolation we've already got.
Exactly. So we never actually updated you on who actually won the championship last time. It ended up being Felipe Drugovich by half a car length across the line because he managed to get ahead of Azam. Azam received a penalty for contact. So Drugovich won the title last time, so he's here back to defend again. But we're back in qualifying, and the drivers only have a single lap to get it right. So that they wanted pressure to be put on the drivers. They wanted them to go fly out straight away. We're looking at Felipe Drugovich right now, the Formula 2 racer and the reigning champion from the previous Isolation. But I mean, Sam, one lap is absolutely nothing in these cars to try and get them up to temperature.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so tricky to drive these cars when the tyres aren't cool. It's a decent length circuit, this, but yeah, you're not going to be at your peak until probably the second or third lap with this new tyre model we have on iRacing, which isn't too old now. It's about 10 weeks old, but that's going to be tricky, and it's a pretty cool circuit as well, I believe we've got today as well. Only 23 degrees track temperature. These guys are used to 40 plus on occasion, so yeah, these cars are going to be slow to warm up. These guys got to be very quick out of the box, got to be very good outlap as well to get those tyres as warm as possible.
Exactly. So we're here in Watkins Glen, the full layout, known as the boot, for the back section, which is the toe, the boot, and the heel, which is what we're passing through now. We're just passing through the heel. That's why it is named after that. NASCAR run on the shortened layout, but we're using the full, and a couple of elevation changes around this last part of the circuit now. Now we're looking at Phil Dennis, Indy Pro 2000 racer, on board with him as he runs up the hill, down the back straight. And I think right at the end of this straight, Sam, is going to be your best overtaking opportunity with the slipstream.
Yeah, possibly. It's going to be a more tricky, if anything, to overtake with this layout, because you're going to this chicane. Pretty scary. Take all the curb on the first, take plenty of the curb on the second. Running a little bit wide there was Dennis. You could see wasn't quite enough on the curb through the first part of the corner. It really tightened up the fourth part as well. But it wasn't bad for him. Easy to pick up a 1x as well, which would invalidate your qualifying time. But this is a pretty good lap. Just has to get out of the dots, and again, almost track extending, going onto the grass. And yeah, he did go onto the grass. You will have your lap invalidated. Dennis just negotiating this boot section of the track now. Just got a few more corners to go, but they're some of the most tricky corners. Into this one, downhill braking, so tricky to get the line perfect. You can miss the apex slightly and still carry good speed. And then this one, for me personally, I find the most tricky. The rear end goes around so easy up the hill and negotiates that pretty well. Final two corners, this is where it gets quite fun, but you got to make sure you avoid the wall on the final corner.
I was going to say, guys, just to come in here, while they are in qualifying, I think this is a good time for us to talk about the layout of this series and how it all works for anyone that's just tuning in for the first time. Because, of course, this is qualifying. After this, we're going to have 2 heats. That will be the chance for the drivers to then get their place into the feature race, and that is where we have the guys coming through from Heat 1 and Heat 2 to race in that feature race. So, guys, just tell us a little bit more about how you enjoy the format. What do you think of it? How it differs to perhaps other esports you've commentated on? Because we're seeing a lot of new esports series just coming around for the first time. And how do you think this layout compares? Because we are using this to help these guys train throughout whilst we are in lockdown, to make sure then they are back ready to go when we do go racing once again.
Well, I think the qualifying format is quite unique when you got one hot lap. A lot of leagues you'll have 2-3 laps to have a couple of attempts at a lap, but when you have one, you can't afford to screw up, and if you screw up, you're down the back of the grid. Heats, of course, helps as well when you've only got 4 laps to try and get a move in this case, and only 15 will make it through out of each heat. So we got a full grid, and it was only 10 minutes each. Then a feature race, of course. So it's great. It's fast and it's furious, and this format really focuses the guys in for this one. But Nicholas Verone was quickest in that session, and just showing that he can get it straight out of the bag. And so here's your grid for the first heat. It's Nicholas Verone and Phil Dennis, Liam Lawson, Ferdinand Habsburg, Felipe Drugovich, Ed Jones, who won that crazy final round, Josh Malin, Sandy Mitchell, Yves Baltas, Jonathan Hoggard. In 10th, then it's Max Futrell, Christopher Tarhan, Formula Challenge driver, in 12th on the grid. And Verone, of course, was involved in that last lap battle as well last time. Jack Dalton, Oliver Jarvis, Jack Martin, Cian Donaldson, returning driver, Matt Greenwood, Francesco Pizzi, Ollie Goethe, Emilie Denner, Bart Horsten, Victor Martins, Pierre-Louis Chauvet, and Sebastian Prio in 24th. And Sebastian Estener is 25th on the grid. And only 15 of these drivers will make it through to the feature race. And we'll have a 30-car grid, an 8-lap final. So we'll have a warm-up lap as well. And we will now join Gemma, who is going to have some great interviews for us. So we'll pass across to Gemma now.
Ollie, you had your sim for the last 6 months. You originally got your sim for gaming, but I think now you've come into realising how important that sim is for your training.
Yeah, I originally got it to just to play with my friends on like console games. But at the start of the year, I got my got like a PC and started using it for important stuff like this, and it really come to realise the value of it.
And how have you found this as a training platform, racing against other drivers who are already in Formula 3, some are in Formula 1, some are in Indy?
I really enjoy the competitive aspect of it because it doesn't matter who they are, I'd still want to beat them, but really, really big names. So it's good to, kind of get me out there slightly.
Great way to promote yourself, definitely. And as a young karting champion, this is obviously the career that you are looking to chase.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to be up there. One of those names.
Look, tonight we've got a talent scout who's going to be pulling his favourite talents into a guaranteed position to start the May Isolation Race Series next week. There are also many other talent spots out there looking from various works teams and big teams. Do you have that in your mind at all, that this is a platform now where you could be spotted?
Yeah, for sure. It's you see in the media, it's something that a lot of people take seriously, and there've been quite a few races in the past for the April Isolation Series that have been quite a lot of big names watching it. So it's definitely good to try my best and get some good results in.
Excellent stuff. Well, good luck in tonight's race, and
thank you very much.
See you on the podium.
Hopefully.
Well, thank you, Gemma. We're just hearing from Ollie Bierman there. He was European and world title winner in karting last year in the IAME X30 Euro Series, won the IAME International Final as well. So he's conquered all in karting, and now he's trying to do the same in esports as well, up against some fantastic drivers racing as high as DTM. But Jack, Sam, looks like we're almost ready to go. This is going to be a very, very fast race. Rolling start, of course, as well, side by side. So it's about keeping out of trouble, isn't it? Getting through that first corner, because all this one really is about is getting through to that feature race. Of course, the higher up you finish, the better you're going to start. But one thing we found, I think, in the April series was some people just got in trouble on the opening lap and then ruined their chances of getting through to the feature race. So hopefully we see a good clean start and then a good clean race after that. But I'll hand over to you guys now for the start of the race.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, spot on with all that there. The guys really need to be careful because there is a feature race and there is spots on the line. So expect anybody from 16th and down to have some serious fights. The guys up front, I don't think, are going to do anything untoward. Nicholas Verone, then, your leader and pole position man. He got his lap hooked up. He got it right. And Verone, of course, was a little bit of a spanner in the works for the championship rivals last time out, Fenestres. But here we go. the qualifier round for May Isolation. It's heat number 1. Verone has already gone, I think. The pace car's immediately in, but Verone's gone. Green light, and we are away. Dennis follows Liam Lawson straight into the slipstream. Habsburg, Drugovic, Malin, as they come across the line, nearly 3 abreast in the background as Lawson goes for second now up the inside. Can he get it stopped? No, he can't. Drugovic going 3 abreast there with Malin, and they all come out unscathed there. They all make it through. There's still 3 abreast with Drugovic and Jones have it trying to get up the inside as well. Drugovic trying to get up the inside. Jones is just following behind. Drugovic around the outside. He's trying to come around Malin, but he's also got to watch out for Mitchell and Baltas, who are right behind him. Jonathan Hoggard in there as well as they try to fight for position here. They're 3 abreast. Ed Jones trying to make a move here on Drugovic. He's trying to get up the slipstream. He can't do it though. And Malin comes out in front there. They're still side by side through the chicane. They all sort themselves out, but a clean start for the top 10, and they are away.
Yeah, and that chicane really did get the drivers into single file. They'll double file all the way up to there, but a little bit of a zip effect there, and they are getting into single file as we go on to the boot section. Kochel or Veroni pulling away slightly out in the lead. Hasn't got a big advantage over Denez. I'm wondering if Denez is still within that slipstream margin, which is going to be so important in these Formula 3 cars. You can see 0.6 of a second at the moment. But good start for Malin. He's up 1 place. Not great start for Drugovic, the defending champion, losing 1 place off the start. Seb Prio up 7 places. He's one of the few drivers who has gained a lot of places. A really nice start for him.
Yeah, great stuff from Seb Prio there as they head up the hill for the first time. Only 4 laps in this one, so it's going to be very quick, very, very fast. And Verone has a small gap. Liam Lawson getting right on the back of Phil Dennis now. Ferdinand Habsburg in 5th. And then it's Malin, Felipe Drugovic in there in 7th. Ed Jones just behind. And yeah, here we go. Lap number 2. Verone, Dennis, Lawson, Habsburg, Malin, Drugovic, Jones, Mitchell, Hoggard, Baltas, Max Futrell. Here comes Liam Lawson up the inside on the brakes. Gets it stopped. Easily done. Made it look easy there, Liam Lawson.
Yeah, that was a textbook move into turn 1. Problem with that move is that you're leaving yourself very vulnerable down this next straight. The tow effect really long from the first corner all the way into the chicane, but Dennis doesn't really have a whole lot to go. And it's very tricky to go around the outside. However, if your opponent leaves the inside open, it makes things a lot easier for you. Dennis has his nose ahead. Can he make this one work? Yes, he can. That was wise thinking from Lawson just to back out of that, and it kills his momentum. And from looking like he was going to hold on to that second place, looks like now Malin might try to get into the podium places.
Yeah, he just made the move on Habsburg there into the chicane, so he did exactly what Phil Dennis did that time. Josh Malin making his way through on Ferdinand Habsburg. I think Ed Jones has also got ahead of Drugovic as well, so they've all made moves. And Drugovic is on the defensive now from Mitchell in just behind him there in 8th, and Jonathan Hoggard trying to come up the inside then. Drugovic trying to have him defend Jonathan Hoggard, the Porsche Carrera Cup driver, as they now fight it out. Drugovic really having to defend now. He really wants to hold on to these places. On board with Hoggard as Mitchell goes to the outside. Can he get it stopped on the brakes? Drugovic leaves the door open, but he defends that well. Hoggard looking for space, and he can't quite get up the inside there. Drugovic holds on up ahead, a little bit of side by side there. I think to Habsburg trying to come back at Josh Malin that time, but Nicholas Verone clear up front now. Lap 3 of 4. We're nearly reaching the end already. This is how fast it goes. Top 15 get through. Currently, Cian Donaldson is the last car that's going to make it through. Hoggard's already looking for that move. Head on to lap number 3. It's Verone, Dennis, Lawson, Malin, Habsburg, Jones, Drugovic, Mitchell, Hoggard, and Baltas. Your top 10. And here comes Jonathan Hoggard now. He's firmly in the slipstream. He's going to have a go into turn 1. He's just going to hang back. He's going to hang back because he knows if he tries that, his run is going to be compromised, and he might lose out to Baltas up the hill.
Yeah, it's tricky though because the car ahead of him has got the top as well. So you got to kind of get the moves done when you can, because this move into the chicane isn't going to be easy. Sandy Mitchell, does he stay to the right side of the circuit? Yes, he does, covering off that inside line. Now he should have the advantage here. 2 by 2 they go as getting back onto the racing line. There is Mitchell, just about had enough of a car ahead. Oh, massive into the wall, and that's Habsburg, and he almost comes back on circuit. He does come back on circuit, and the car number 7 of Dalton pretty much had nowhere to go, and more drivers have got involved as well. I think that was Prio, who had a sensational race from the back of the order. He may have been able to qualify. He's not anymore.
What a shame. They come to blows. Here's Ferdinand Habsburg. He has a go around the outside. He gets in front. And then as they come out, just a touch in the rear, and he's gone. Simple as that. And he bounces back out. And the poor car of Dalton just has nowhere to go, slams into him, and then poor old Seb Prio arrives and just gets a little tag in the rear, and off he goes. And that is how brutal the damage model is on these Formula 3 cars. Seb Prio, amazing driver, but he ends up in the wall, and he's not going to make it to the feature race, and neither any of those guys. So unfortunate for them. but Nicholas Verone has no such problems out front. So what that has done, it has put Cian Donaldson was also involved in it as well. He's now out. He was in 15th, but that's put Chauvet into 15th, Jarvis and Horston now there. And we're on to the final lap, and Verone is completely clear up front. Liam Lawson's heading purple lap times, but everybody gaining spots now, all important in the feature race. You can see how far, it's interesting to see how far they're able to go off on turn one, because these drivers will find as much of the track that they can use as possible, and that's typical pro driver strategies, I think.
Definitely, and of course in NASCAR and in IndyCar, I believe they use that section of the circuit as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So no white line worries for these guys. Djokovic is going to be overtaken perhaps by Jones. In fact, Djokovic gets back past Jones. So how this race has come back to the Brazilian. It was a poor start for him, but he's back to where he started now after losing a couple of places. Malin is too far ahead, but he's just about broken that drought. They're going to be very tricky to pass from here on in the lap. In fact, he's not that far behind Malin, but yeah, won't quite be onto him by the end of the race. Looks as though Jarvis is just going to get through. Jack Martin is 3 seconds behind Jarvis at the moment in 16th place. I don't think it's going to happen for Martin, but these top 15 will be very pleased. I think everyone who's qualified will be pretty happy with this result.
Yeah, so Verone cruising around, doing an amazing job out front. And British Formula 3 driver, very used to a Formula 3 car, and he's going to make his mark in heat number 1. Lights the flag victory as he comes around to win the qualification heat 1 race. Here we go. Nicholas Verone rounds the final corner. He's going to do it. He's going to win the opening heat. Phil Dennis holds on for 2nd place, and Liam Lawson gets 3rd. Then it's going to be Malin, Drugovic, Jones, Mitchell, Hoggard, Baltas, and Max Futrell. And then the final feature race spots will be Tarhan, Horston, Chauvet, Pitsy, and Jarvis, we think, is going to hold on for that all-important 15th place. And then Matt Greenwood just going to miss out in 17th place. And then the rest of the guys all involved in incidents, unfortunately, with Ferdinand Hatzberg losing out. And that is it. A really simple race for Nicholas Verone there. And we're going to head straight to Heat 2 very shortly. But Chris, an excellent race from Nicholas Verone that time.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Like I said, just got his head down once he got out front there and has now got his place into that feature race. As you said, the top 15 were the ones that have now made it through to the feature race. After this, we're going to have a second heat where you're basically going to see exactly the same thing, albeit with different drivers, with the top 15 then joining those 15 drivers we have just seen go through in a feature race, which is going to be very, very good, I'm sure. Watkins Glen, we are racing around, of course, in the Dallara F3 car. Very good racing overall, I'd say. Unfortunately, we did see some incidents there, though, guys. It's just one of the things that we have seen happening, unfortunately, 1 or 2 times in the series. When there's that many drivers out on track, you're always going to get 1 or 2 incidents. But overall, I'd say, other than that one incident, it was a pretty clean race.
It was absolutely fantastic driving standards, as you say. And that one incident that we did have, I'm not sure if it was a tap from behind or whether that driver just lost it by themselves. But then, of course, with the debris that we have around here, I think Sepio may have even come across a little bit of debris, which unsettled the car. And he went into the mains of the car he had originally hit the wall of Hatzberg. So, yeah, massive shame for those guys. But, of course, a few rounds in this championship, I'm sure we are going to see them right back up the front in future rounds of the championship as Cian Donaldson crosses the line. And I think we might be able to go through the race results then from that Heat 1.
Yeah, let's wait and see for that one. And yeah, great job. So a quick rundown of the results. Nicholas Verone, Phil Dennis, Liam Lawson, Josh Malin, Felipe Drugovic, Ed Jones, Sandy Mitchell, Jonathan Hoggard, Yves Baltas, Max Futrell, Christopher Tarhan, Bart Horston, Pierre-Louis Chauvet, and Francesco Pizzi. And the final feature race spot goes to Oliver Jarvis in 15th place, and just outside was Jack Martin, Matt Greenwood, Cian Donaldson in 18th. Just about got across the line. I think he was a victim of debris. Ferdinand Hatzberg, who saw on the wall, Jack Dalton, Ollie Goethe, Seb Prio, unfortunate, Victor Martins, Emilia Denner, and Sebastian Essner will be the final classified finisher as we now grid up for heat race number 2. And we'll have another Ramiz Azam, the championship contender who very nearly won it last time. He is on pole for this one. Epps, Colin Pinto, Ollie Rowland. And Chris, I believe Gemma has got somebody else lined up for us here.
Yep, we're going to be hearing now from Gustavo Menezes, of course, who races in the FIA World Endurance Championship, podium finisher at the 24-hour Le Mans as well. So let's go and hear how he's feeling ahead of this one.
Gus, thank you very much for talking to us. The May Isolation qualifying race. We've got Enzo Mucci, of course, checking out the best talents to guarantee them a place into the first round of the series. And all eyes are on all drivers tonight. What I want to ask you is about the difference of driving. You're usually an LMP1. You're coming across to the F3 car on the sim now. How different is that from your real life car to this sim?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me tonight. It's obviously a lot of fun, and I think important to stay on the sim while we're at home and just kind of keep our brains functioning. But going back to the question, I obviously grew up driving and went through the ranks in Formula 3 right before I went into endurance racing. And I think Formula 3 is the most relative car to all high downforce cars, because it's the first time you get proper feeling on the road, but at the same time it gives drivers from kind of all levels an opportunity to drive something very drivable, very realistic. So you'll get boys from karting all the way to Formula 1 drivers and LMP1 drivers all kind of able to drive a very similar style in the F3 car, which makes the races extremely exciting and extremely close.
How did you find the championship last month?
Oh, it was much tougher than I thought. Obviously, I actually just got this sim perfectly in time for the quarantine to start, and I realized how much work I had ahead when I was, in 20th or 30th place, and I'm just like, gosh, I won a world championship and I'm still this far behind. But it keeps you on your toes, and Enzo and I actually had this conversation recently. When the season comes back in full swing, they're not going to give us the 4 hours of Le Mans because we're not fit and we haven't been training. We're going straight back to action. So having these championships like the May Isolation has actually brought so many drivers together and brought the level up so much. It really does keep us on our toes, and we'll actually spend hours and hours testing, just getting ready for each race. So it's good fun.
Well, it's great. I know you're a bit of an adrenaline junkie, so you must be itching to get back outside from quarantine, to get back to real life, but this is a great way to keep you focused.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get back on track, to get back to skydiving and all other exciting things, but we'll have to wait a few more weeks. Hopefully soon the world can start spinning again.
Excellent stuff. We'll have a great race tonight. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gemma. Great to hear from Gustavo there before this second heat. So this is going to be heat number 2. We've had heat number 1. 15 drivers from that have qualified through to the final. The exact same is basically going to happen here. So the grid has been set from qualifying, which was a little bit earlier on. Now we have the second heat where the top 15 will go through. Familiar name from the April series, Azam on the front row there with Michael Epson. We've got the likes of Colapinto and Roland on row number 2. Jack, this is going to be a good one. Only 4 laps to decide it. I'll hand it over to you now for the race start.
Thanks very much, Chris. Azam, he's got something to prove now. He so nearly won the title, tied on points at the end with Drugovic, but the penalty cost him. And here we go, heat race number 2. Azam is gone already. Michael Epps, Colapinto, Ollie Rowland, and away we go. Green flag in the air. Michael Epps on the outside line as they head towards turn 1. Colapinto, Ollie Rowland already challenging, trying to get up 2 spots already. Challenging up the inside. 3 abreast in the run towards turn 1. Ollie Rowland up the inside. Are they going to make contact so close? And that was one of them having to run out really, really wide. Michael Epps comes back. Rowland had to go way out wide. And how about Richard for sure? Up to 3rd already from nearly 7th or 8th on the grid. He's straight through. Now he's already challenging Colapinto as they run towards the chicane. Also, Jack Crawford's right in there as well. We saw what happened between himself and Dennis Hoger in the April series. But here comes Jack Crawford, going to try and make it 3 wide. As cars going left, right as they head 2 by 2 into the chicane. Up the inside, Colapinto holds on for sure as ahead. Crawford's in there. Michael Epps, there's a car upside down. It's a big one in the background. That was Jaden Conright. Jaden Conright with a big one. Kasper Stuka, and there was Kasper Stuka who was flipped upside down. The Carter, massive one in the background there. But Azam knows nothing about it, and he's clear up front, Sam.
And Roland, I think, lost his rear wing. I think he may have cut the chicane or something and seemed to just lose his rear right corner, I think. It was so crazy, and this is what you're going to have when you have such a narrow corner as the chicane. You can't go too wide here, and they were too wide on the entry, and unlike in race 1, they just didn't divide in time, and Stuka onto his sweeper. A massive crash. We know how competitive Kasper Stuka is. Unfortunately, hasn't quite reached his potential, I think, in this championship quite yet, but Azam, as you say, has no idea about that. Maybe we've seen it as a distant object in his mirrors, but he's absolutely sprinted away. This race win being as short, or this race being as short as it is, the race win should almost certainly be him. But Colapinto got through that turn one. It was 3 wide into that turn one. I think he was the one who made it 3 wide on the inside, and he was the one who benefited from it most. Just behind, we've got Aaron versus Crawford. And once again, trying to turn into the corner, you can use all this space, but it does penalise you a little bit if you go that wide. But on that occasion, it works out brilliantly. Fantastic momentum there for Paul Aaron, and Crawford is going to have to wait a little bit longer. Turney might have the best run on it on both of them here, when he's got the double slipstream. Is there room down the inside? Is he willing to make this 3 wide? There's not room. Well, maybe there is. He's going to go through the middle of the pair of them. Outside isn't good enough. Inside isn't good enough. Is the middle good enough? I think it is. The car number 2 piece up into fifth.
Great. Oh, he gets spun. Paul Aaron's around. He gets a punt in the rear, and he comes back on the track. It's going to be carnage here as he gets collected by Cottrell, I think that is. Yeah, the Junior X30 driver, Harry Cottrell, involved, and spinning around as well was Mateusz Kaperski there in 17th. So that's the rear wing gone on Paul Aaron's car. Unfortunately, I think he probably just got caught out by Joe Turney making that move and got a little possibly a little touch in the rear, but Aaron is now out. Edo Cohen was involved in that one. Harry Cottrell was involved, and now, unfortunately, he is now out as well. But Azam is checked out at front. Richard for sure is through to second. He's got Colapinto, so we missed that move, but he's into second. Colapinto third. Michael Epps is fourth. Joe Turney is now fifth, and that puts, I believe, Matthew Payne into sixth. James Pohl is seventh. Then it's Harry Tinknell, Alfred Nilsson, and then Ollie Behrman is now 10th. That's really shaking things up. But I think there's some good pace on Michael Epps' car because he's not pulling away there. Alfred Nilsson, how about this for a battle right here? Raoul Hyman's in this one. Nilsson has dropped down a spot there as Ollie Behrman gets through, and Raoul Hyman's made up 2 on them there. Raoul Hyman, the South African, is now trying to fend him off as they head towards turn number 1. Nilsson going to try to go up the inside here, and he gets that done on Ollie Behrman. Just up the road, Raoul Hyman there, and now get the cut back, and Behrman gets through. That was super close. Jack Crawford trying to find some space there. Behrman gets back on through on Nilsson. Now Jack Crawford is going to try again around the outside. He was battling up the front earlier, but he's dropped down to the back. Gets right up against the barrier there. Now he's got it up the inside of Nilsson, now in the slipstream of Ollie Behrman. Can he get it done? Watch out for the car of Barta behind as well. As now we go back to the front as a mistake from Colapinto on the back of Michael Epps, trying to come around the outside, very twitchy on the rear end there. And he's going to go around the outside, really tricky to make that work there. Is he alongside the exit of the corner? Yes, he is. He's got the inside line. Michael Epps, if he gets that done, it's going to be a lovely move. And I think he has. That's a great move. Bravery around the outside of the exit of the chicane there, but he's got it done.
Yeah, and with that disastrous couple of corners for Colapinto there. Apparently we've lost Ollie Behrman. He was in this very tight battle, and he's taken too much curve on the second one. That's not actually the stuff that's how's it actually? There is Behrman. Oh, he got a small tap and another high-speed crash at that chicane, which is proving to be this trouble spot around this Watkins Glen circuit. We often don't run this circuit with it, but it's certainly a great test for the drivers who are trying to get through it today. Epps is back under pressure from Colapinto, who's trying to get back past. Also, Raoul Hyman has dropped down the order. He's down to 13. Oh, that's a lot of damage for him. I was about to say, is he going to jump out the top 15? Yes, he is. Stuka might still get through actually from here. He's in 17th place, I think, is Stuka. Currently, the last guy occupying the last place is Janssen, but he's right with Mateusz, the Polish driver, just behind him. So going to be close between those two to the end of the race. But outside the lead starting to calm down. I think this is the one lead battle we've got to watch out for, though. Epps trying to hold off Colapinto.
Yeah, last lap, so who's going to get in front? Colapinto with the slipstream, and Epps is not close enough to for sure to get the slipstream here. Oh, he switched to the outside very late. There's a Colapinto to the outside line. As he got the overspeed to get it done, they almost touch wheels as they head towards the chicane. Is he going to go around the outside? Yes, he has to take to the grass, and he's either going to make contact. Yes, on foot, Colapinto in the wall after contact with Epps. Joe Turney goes through. So unfortunate, he just carried too much speed onto the grass and straight into Michael Epps, who was so lucky to get away with that one. But Joe Turney capitalised on that. He goes through the third. Really unfortunate. It was such a great battle. Just too much speed.
Yep, and that was such a risky move, wasn't it? I mean, you're really playing with danger there. That was for 2 positions on the grid. Was it worth the risk? I don't know. These guys are fantastic racing drivers, but it's really not worked out on that occasion. They're not going to get through to the final. Seemingly, it's Colapinto. He's currently in 16th place. It looks like he's going to miss out. But one man who isn't going to miss out, the man who's going to be starting on the front row to good second place for the final, I think it's going to be Ramez Azam.
Yep, totally dominant. I think he's controlling the pace for sure, has caught him. But Azam has held on, and he is going to take the Heat Race 2 victory through the last corner. Ramez Azam back to winning ways, goes through, and he wins Heat number 2, followed closely by Richard Verschoor in second. Then it's Joe Turney. Michael Epps is going to hold on for 4th place. Matthew Payne and James Pull to the line, very, very close. Comes across the line, Payne holds on versus James Pull. Harry Tinknell in 7th. Jack Crawford recovers to 8th and with the fastest lap as well. Then it's Alfred Nilsson, and then Barter, Gustavo Menezes in 11th, Jaden Conright, Nunez, and then Mateus in 14th, and then I think Janssen is going to be the final driver to make it through, as the rest of the guys were all involved in incidents. Kasper Stuka obviously rolled over. He's in 16th. Ollie Rowland was caught up in the same kind of incident as well, which Stuka is just going to miss out. Ollie Rowland, Colapinto, of course, out of this race. Hyman out. Harry Cottrell crossed the line, but he is out. Paul Aaron, 21st. Ollie Behrman, Edo Cohen, and 2 drivers did not make the grid. But unfortunate for Ollie Rowland, he was right up the front at the start. And really unfortunate for Kasper Stuka. He was right in that lead battle as well. But Chris, this is what can happen in racing. You can get caught up in incidents and just ends your chances straight away.
Well, we said it before the start of the first heat, didn't we? If you just keep out of trouble, then you're going to see yourself through to the feature race. And unfortunately, whether it's through their own fault or not, some drivers have found themselves caught up in incidents. Saw particularly a few in that one, unfortunately, and that ruins your chances of going through to that feature race. So that is their evening done, basically. Oliver Rowland, this will be the last time we see him out there this evening, the FIA Formula E driver. He's going to be classified in 17th place, but from Janssen there in 15th upwards, all of them are going to go through to the feature race and fight with the 15 drivers that qualified through via Heat 1. And this is where it gets very interesting, guys, isn't it, when we put the qualifiers together on track. It's going to be a longer race as well. It's just the feature race to help decide the winner. This, what we're using as a qualifier to the May Isolation Series, a chance for Enzo Mucci and his team to look at potentially some new entries into the series. So here's the results. Azam there taking the win. Richard Verschoor, FIA F3 driver, 3rd. Joe Turney, who's a factory driver for the Tony Kart team, he finished 3rd. Epps in 4th. Payne 5th. Paul, Tinknell, Crawford, Nielsen, Barter, Menezes. He had a good race coming all the way up to 11th. We heard from him before the race as well with Gemma. Conright, Nunez, Kaprik there, and then Janssen. You can see to the right, usually where it says their teams, we've got what championship that they race, and you can see we've got an FIA World Endurance Championship driver there competing with a Porsche Super Cup driver in 11th and 12th. Fantastic stuff. Brilliant stuff, guys. Who's your money on then going into this feature race? As we said, the top 15 from Heat 1 and Heat 2 are now going to be on together on track for this feature race. Who's your money on?
Oh, it's a really tricky one. Azam,
I was
for
going to
sure.
say, guys, have a think about that, actually. I think that's what I'm going to let you do, because whilst the drivers get themselves in the zone and ready to go for this feature race, which is going to be 8 laps, we're actually going to go down to Gemma again, who is going to have a chat with the creator of this series, Enzo Mucci.
Enzo, certain Formula One teams won't allow drivers anywhere near a real racing car unless they've really proven themselves on a sim. So this really is a test of skill. As a talent scout, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for something that these F1 teams are looking for. Someone who obviously has got skill, has got an understanding of how to drive and can keep it on the track. Now with simulators, obviously it's really difficult because you haven't got the feel. So it's all visual. You need markers a little bit more than you would in real life. So you have to think about it on a different level and know exactly what you're doing in order to drive quick. It's not seat of the pants, let's just feel what the car's doing. You have to be a little bit more intelligent, and that's why F1 teams like it, and so do IMSA, GT, and all sorts of manufacturers now. Prove yourself first, and then we might let you touch our car that's worth over $1 million.
Oof, yeah, exactly that. Now, we've seen some kamikaze driving so far in April isolation. Moving through into May, we're looking to get the drivers a little bit more tidy to get some real talent coming through.
Yeah, that's why I stopped racing, because a few of them were caused by me. But yeah, we're having a qualifier, obviously, today to make sure that we got the right kind of drivers and that are going to keep it on the track, but obviously do themselves justice. Because if they're not quite ready, then it's just a waste of time them turning up, because it's a fierce field that we've got at the minute. Everybody's quick, and I remember being 4/10 off in practice, and I was 26th.
certainly is. And I do believe you've got some other exciting news for us.
We have, thanks to you. It looks like we're going to be broadcast on BT Sport TV live every event, which is on Monday, 6 o'clock. That's what we've earmarked at the minute. Obviously, we've got final details to go through, but I'm excited to say that BT Sport are using their intuition, really, of thinking, okay, we need live sport. This is good. This is exciting. This is entertaining. Our viewers would love it. And we agree, of course.
It's very, very exciting times. Well, let's get on with the race right now. Thank you very much for joining us. And we look forward to finding out which talents you pick as your
Thanks,
top
Gemma.
drivers.
Well, thank you to Gemma. Great to hear from Enzo Mucci, who was originally hoping to get 15 drivers into this. Now he's got too many, and we have to do things like this just to get him down to a feature race. The top 15 from Heat 1 and the top 15 from Heat 2 now about to go head-to-head for the feature race. And to talk you through the race start, here is Jack Canutt.
Let's go then. Azam and Dennis on the front row. Verona has not made the grid, so here we go. The feature race, the opening round, the qualification race, and Dennis has jumped the line. Dennis goes ahead, and now it's Azam in second, for sure third, and they go side by side, but Dennis has completely jumped Azam straight away into turn one. Here comes Lawson now up the inside, around the outside, going to try on Azam into turn number one, but Dennis is clear. Azam second, Lawson goes through the third now. Malin gets ahead of for sure. Drugovic is in there too, trying to get up the inside of for sure, and he's alongside for sure. And they head down the back straight here, looking for the slipstream. Looks like for sure's been hung out to dry a little bit here. Drugovic on the inside, but now he's getting on the bump trap from Joe Turney as well. As they head down, they go single file down to the chicane. Azam's been left for dead on the inside as for sure goes to the outside, three abreast into the chicane. For sure's going to go around the outside of all of them. He goes through to third place. Brilliant move. Azam fourth, Malin fifth, and Ed Jones is now sixth. What's a move from Richard for sure. He goes through to third place. Drugovic drops down. Mitchell goes up 2 places. Hull is ninth. Joe Turney now back down to 10th after that squabble into the chicane. But Phil Dennis, it looks like a little bit of a jump from him ahead of Azam as into the wall goes. Yeah, Jonathan Hoggard. Yeah, Jonathan Hoggard got into the wall on the exit there. Looks like he's managed to keep it going. But yeah, Phil Dennis, a bit of a jump on the line there, and Azam has been left out to dry as Liam Lawson and for sure get ahead of him.
Yeah, so I think, so what happened then was Veroni didn't take the grid. He was meant to start on first. So I think Dennis actually got promoted to first place. He was the guy who was controlling the field for the start of the race. So he's actually gone from third to first on the grid, which I'm sure the American will be very pleased about because he managed to avoid the majority of that. For sure, I mean, that could be the move of the season, and the season hasn't even started yet. Two more drives there hard into the wall. Turney has hit the wall once again. And was that Baltus, who's also hit the wall, who had a really nice drive in race one, now tries to turn it round, but I think you're missing a wheel, mate. Probably best to get back to the pit and pick up a fast repair. Has there been any changes further up? Dennis is more under pressure now from Lawson, who looks really quick. He was really quick in the race earlier on as well. Was Lawson, has some fantastic pace towards the end of the event. He might be the fastest driver out on circuit, and he's certainly backing that up at the moment. These guys 1 second clear of everyone else, and everyone else is fighting at the moment. Is Lawson close enough for a move into the chicane? It would be a very late move, but he's going to go for the move anyway. There he goes, into the chicane, straight through there for Liam Lawson. Fantastic overtake.
Brilliant stuff from Liam Lawson, straight up the inside. FIA Formula 3 driver goes through on Phil Dennis. And now Josh Malin third, Azam fourth, for sure. Jones, that's a late move from Ed Jones up the inside. How did they not make contact? For sure leaves the space, but now here comes Drugovic around the outside. He's got the space on the outside line, heading towards the end of the hairpin into the boot. Jones has a look again on for sure, but it hasn't quite got enough. So Drugovic hangs back for now. Jones for sure had to fend off a serious attack from Ed Jones this time. DTM driver with Drugovic now, has he got a chance? Ed Jones is really trying to find some space there. He hasn't got any. Drugovic looking for space, Jones looking for space, for sure is looking for space on Azam as well, who's caught up, and there's a little bit of a look from Drugovic, the defending champion, going round the back as we head on to, I believe, lap 3. Don't think it's lap 4, I think it's lap 3 we're starting now, as we head toward the line, but it's Lawson from Denez, Malin, and then Azam for sure, Jones, Drugovic, Mitchell and Pohl as they come across the line to start lap number 3. Azam leads as we head over the line, but Jones is looking really, really racy behind that car of Richard for sure. I think it could possibly end in a little bit of chaos towards the end, Sam.
Yeah, I think so. These guys are not holding back. And Djokovic, he was so consistent last season, wasn't he? He didn't take part in the first couple of rounds, and so he couldn't afford a poor round to finish off the season. So he had to finish every single one. You wouldn't guess it by his driving at the moment. He's leaving nothing on the table. As Jones has to go defensively, he's got that move current into the chicane. Slow car on the inside was a back marker, wasn't one of the front runs. As first shot goes wide, and the gap opens up, and Ed Jones was not going to back off there. As Josh Malin has a spin, really struggling there. That's a strange place as well to lose the rear end. I wonder if he got unsettled by the bumps around the chicane part of the track. And Malin drops 4 places, I believe, maybe even more than that, maybe even 5 places. I think he was up in 7th place previously. It's a fantastic shame for the British driver. But yeah, then it's Paul just ahead. Busted up in the race, by the way, was for Malin on the last lap, and he's just made that mistake. Was a man on a mission, but not anymore. You can see this big train ahead, but then Lawson out in the lead has actually been able to break the draft. This is mind-boggling pace from Liam Lawson. I don't think we've seen this type of domination from a driver in this race before, because to break the draft in these cars around this circuit is a massive effort, and he's been able to do it, something that no one else has really been able to do all day long.
Yeah, he's done a brilliant job as Liam Lawson. So coming across the line, followed by Dennis, Azam behind, and then Jones, Drugovic, Mitchell for sure, who had the mistake in the chicane as well. So he's dropped back a couple of places. Ed Jones is still ahead of Drugovic just about, and Malin and Barter are your top 10. We look back at now Drugovic making a mistake on the exits. We talk about that. He touches the grass, and now a very, very racy Mitchell is behind him. He's right on his tail. Let's see Sandy Mitchell up the inside. Drugovic opens the door, and he's got the overspeed. I think he's going to even have it done before the chicane, and he does. So Drugovic drops back, but Sandy Mitchell looking really quick in that car, chasing after Ed Jones. And Ed Jones, speaking of which, he's catching Ramiz Azam in 3rd place. So Ed Jones, the winner of the final round in the last corner, he's chasing after Azam. But the guys up front have really checked out. They're 2.3 seconds clear. Liam Lawson 1.3 ahead of Denez. The real battle is right here in the tail end of the podium. Azam, Jones, and there's a slow car there. That's Menezes, I think, who's been in the wall again by the looks of it. And he's unfortunately really out of contention now. But Ed Jones now chasing Azam. But I'm really impressed. Sandy Mitchell looking really racy in there.
Yeah, he's looking great, isn't he? A driver who we haven't seen too much of so far, the Blancpain GT Series driver, and already he is up 8 places, the most places gained of anyone in the top 9. Then we've got Barter gained 10 places, Nunez up 15. Up into 11th place is Nunez. Several of them, of course, would have been the crashes that we're seeing today, but the majority have been overtaken. So fantastic driving. You can also see the eyes of the drivers as the clear visors are on. It's getting pretty dark here in New York State, so a little bit of extra visibility for these drivers will be very useful. Starting now lap 5 of this race, a little bit of an extended race, of course, for this finale, and Djokovic is getting back close to Mitchell. Strange how he almost let past Mitchell on the last lap, but these guys need to make sure they don't battle too much, because you can see Azam and Jones, I think, are on the edge of battling just ahead.
Drugovic is coming now. He's going to take that place right back around the outside. We've got to watch for Ed Jones as well. Is he going to try a tandem move as well? So Drugovic around the outside. Jones has also got the outside. Jones has got Azam already before the chicane. Jones goes through the 3rd, and Drugovic gets the move done on Sandy Mitchell, which brings Richard for sure back on his tail now as well. So they both make similar moves. And just to keep you updated, Nicholas Ferrone did make the grid. He's 16th at the moment, but he had to start from the pit lane because he did not make the grid. So Verone's up to 50 now. He's just made a place. But Drugovic, smart driving, I think, just hanging back. I think what he was doing was he knew that Mitchell had the pace, so he was letting Mitchell drag him all the way up to Azam, and now he's in the draft of Ramiz Azam and needs to get in front of to keep chasing after Ed Jones. So I reckon that was some pretty cool tactical driving from Felipe Drugovic, using Sandy Mitchell to his advantage.
Yeah, and that's just really smart there from a clearly very experienced driver. That's a tactic that many drivers don't use on iRacing enough, using or working together to move up through the order. And Azam, he was invincible, remember, at round 1 at Spa at last season, was invincible at times as well last season as well. Just dropping back at the moment, and Djokovic, I think, may well be seen past him, because Azam dropping outside of that toe now of Jones.
Yeah, lap 6 of 8 in the feature race. Liam Lawson with the fastest lap of the race, but Phil Dennis, 0.03 of a second quicker, and Ed Jones goes quicker again by 0.3 of a second. Phil Dennis is still charging. He's still within a second, so he's almost in the draft again. I think it's about 0.8 of a second is when you start getting a little bit of a toe off the car in front. So he's a second off. He's not totally out of it as Phil Dennis yet. Liam Lawson just holding station right now. It's 2 seconds back is Ed Jones. But here we go again. Drugovich has got to... He's going for third on Ed Jones. Can he get it done? I think he can. And he goes through ahead. He's actually having to fight off Ramaz Azam. It was a counter-attack from Ramaz Azam. Excuse me. Ed Jones are in very similar cars. So Azam is trying his best to get to repass Drugovich. But now Sandy Mitchell in 6th place. And Drugovich goes through to 4th. Now trying to chase after Ed Jones, who has built a small bit of a gap. Richard Verschoor is kind of just hanging in there a little bit. James Poole not too far off the back of them either, trying to latch onto the back of that train. Josh Mallon, he's trying to recover after his spin, and he's still there in 9th. And he's doing quite well. So we got a nice little train forming. This is really for the podium and 4th place, really. So there's not a lot of time left in this race. There's only 2 laps to go when we cross the line. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to come out on top. Is it going to be Liam Lawson or is it going to be Phil Dennis?
Yeah, no, quick word as well. Malin, who set the fast lap earlier on, so we know how quick he is. But yeah, Lawson and Dennis still in touching distance. Is Dennis still within about a second of his rival? But yeah, going to be tricky to close that gap to the end of the race. It seems as though he's just about got an arm's length has Lawson at the moment. But got to make sure they keeps it on the circuit. We've seen it a few times in recent days. Disconnects right at the end of the race on the approach to the checker flag. You do not want something like that. And mistakes around this Watkins circuit, with the curbs so high, with the grass lining the circuit, with the walls so close as well. Very easy to do. So you cannot stop faltering right now. Can Lawson, as going defensive, is going to be Azam. Mitchell might be the next to overtake him. Mitchell round the outside, but Azam, good defensive driving there. And holds on to 5th place. Bad news for Azam is that driving like that's going to drop him off the back of Drugovich, who is just starting to pull away. Verschoor half a second further back as well. And he will really fancy his chances of getting the pair of them on the final lap coming up.
Yeah, just saw Josh Mallon made the move on James Poole into the chicanes. He's got ahead of James Poole. You can just see in the background there. But Verschoor, you're right. He's back, right on the back of Sandy Mitchell. We're about to head on to the white flag lap here. So Jones is holding on. Liam Lawson is your leader. There's a second between himself and Phil Dennis. So Phil he's running out of time, but he's not quite in the draft. This is going to be it's going to need to be a massive push from Phil Dennis to try and get Liam Lawson here. But Liam, he's just looked completely unbeatable so far. He got the move and he stayed there, controlled the race, and he's holding on for now. 1 more lap to go. White flag in the air. The gap is at just under 0.9 of a second, so it's not over yet, but it's going to need to be a massive push from Dennis to do this. Here we go. Let's look at the lap times. Liam Lawson 1:38.7, 0.3 nipped out by Phil Dennis that time. Ramaz Azam 39.1 personal best for all these guys, but Phil Dennis is the fastest guy on the track at the moment. He's the only guy in the 38s, and he's lapping pretty quickly, but he's just not quite there in the toe, which is so crucial. This is what he needs.
I wonder if Lawson's just got a little bit careful in the last couple of laps. It's so tricky to be leading a race like that. It's so much easier to be following because you're able to extract that extra pace from you. You've got slightly less to lose, whereas Lawson will be thinking of the worst case scenario right now. But I think he's got enough. Oh, massive off for Dennis, and that might be significant damage. Malin, meanwhile, is racing Paul. Dennis went across the bumps there, and I'm really concerned that he's got a lot of suspension damage now. He seems to be slow. That could be the slowdown, potentially, if you cut the circuit. On iRacing, you do have to slow down before you can get back going again, but he's going to be very slow down the straights because I'm sure there's going to be some floor damage and some front wing damage to the corners. So he's still looking pretty strong. Jones is half a second behind him. Oh, that was close to Dennis. We knew that he was pushing hard, maybe pushing a little bit too hard, but he seems to be okay. He's very fortunate that that's the case.
Yeah, he's just about got enough in hand. We're on the final lap, but the man who's dominated this entire race, Liam Lawson, out front. He's led for most of this race. Phil Dennis tried an attack, but it's not quite worked through the last couple of corners now. Through the last corner, The May Isolation Qualification race, first blood goes to Liam Lawson. He wins the feature race here in the May Isolation e-racing series. Phil Dennis is going to just about hold on for second place. Ed Jones gets on the podium. Drugovic is fourth. Azam for sure. Then it's Mitchell, Malin, Pullen, Barter. Then Bart Horston. Nicholas Verona, by the way, drove from the pit lane up to 12th place. Good drive, Nicholas Verona. He should have been on the front row, but he just missed the grid. And a big sideways one for Bart Horston across the line. Gets it across the line. Nice one, Bart. And Verona. Then Tarhan, Alfred Nilsson, a lap down 14th. Harry Tinknell. And there's Christopher Tarhan. He's going to be the last guy not to have been a lap down. And he's going to cross the line in 13th place. New driver to the series is Christopher Tarhan. So nice to see him out. But Liam Lawson, I mean, he got the job done, Chris, and nobody could stop him.
Yeah, brilliant drive, wasn't it, by Liam Lawson, just controlled from the front there. But a great race overall, wasn't it? Fantastic feature race to kick off this May Isolation series, if you like. Almost a pre-season friendly this, but a chance for these guys to try and prove themselves to Enzo Mucci and his team and get themselves into that May Isolation series, which is going to be kicking off next week. And big news that comes along with it is it's going to be shown live on BT Sport. So absolutely fantastic opportunities for these guys during lockdown to race live on BT Sport, and what a fantastic opportunity that is, guys. For some of these guys who have only ever had the chance to say racing karting, they're not only racing the likes of F1 drivers, FI World Endurance Championship drivers as well, but now they get to do it on a huge sporting platform.
It really is something. I mean, who would have thought we would have seen TV? It's sim racing on live TV. Quick rundown of the feature race results. First blood, Liam Lawson wins the qualification race. It's Phil Dennis in second. Ed Jones gets the podium. Felipe Drugovic gets fourth. He beats Azam for sure with his mistake. He recovers to sixth. Sandy Mitchell, good pace from him in seventh. Josh Mallon, after his spin in eighth, holds off James Poole. And Hugh Barter in 10th. Bart Horston, Nicholas Verone from the pit lane ends up in 12th. Christopher Tarhan, Alfred Nilsson, Harry Tignell, Matthias Capric, Oliver Jarvis, Daniel Janssen in 18th. And the last classified finishers, Pierre-Louis Chavot, Michael Epps, Francesco Pizzi, Tristan Nunez, Jonathan Hoggard, Jack Crawford, Gustavo Menezes, Yves Baltas, Joe Turney, Max Future. We saw a lot of these guys DNF'd, unfortunately. Jaden Conwright we saw on the wall on lap number 1. Matthew Payne on the wall, unfortunately, as well. So a lot of these guys actually didn't end up finishing, so from kind of 20th down, did not get across the line. But unfortunate for those guys. But yeah, great race, great opening. And this isn't even the start of the season yet, actually. It's only the qualification race, but a good sign of things to come, Sam.
Yes, certainly. I think the Giant Science event thing in that race were probably higher than we saw in April Isolation, dare I say. And the Jazz weren't backing off whatsoever. I think just maybe learning the racecraft on iRacing. We saw some smart moves, I think, from Djokovic, for example. Lets him past the rival so he could catch up to Azam in that feature race. So getting smarter, I think, these Jazz on iRacing, which is a very different game to real life when it comes to that racecraft. So no, certainly fantastic signs for the future season coming up. And yeah, I cannot wait for that. Of course, that will be with you next Monday.
Yeah, we start again next Monday, and you heard from Chris there. We're on BT Sport, believe it or not. I mean, Chris, who would have thought that we would have been having sim racing, a unique opportunity, put on UK TV, on live TV? It's incredible.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's a fantastic opportunity to show esports and what it's all about. And you guys particularly, you know all about esports. You've been involved with it for a number of years now. And what we have seen tonight, and I'm sure what all of you watching it, is we've seen some very entertaining racing when there's not much about of it to watch at the moment. So this is what we can do. We can provide this fantastic entertainment for you all, and why not show it out there on live TV? It's something for all of us to watch and enjoy. We're seeing the kind of races that we would usually see on these platforms anyway, with drivers from as high up as DTM, Formula E, FI World Endurance Championship. So it's the same kind of drivers we're going to see there, only this time they're being joined by drivers from all different championships up and down, all across the globe, up and down. We've got drivers from as low as karting in there as well. So drivers just starting out, and it's going to be fantastic to put it out there live on BT.
A very unique opportunity. We're really looking forward to it. So we've got obviously a good indicator of who is going to be right up there. Liam Lawson looking particularly strong. Ramaz Azam still got his pace, but some really stiff competition this time because he's got Drugovic to deal with for a full season this time, and he's got obviously Richard Brasure, and a little surprise as well. I think one to look out for, Sam, is Sandy Mitchell. He was really mixing it up with all those guys today.
Yeah, and I was also impressed by Josh Malin as well. You think he had a spin, and yeah, he only finished 8 seconds off the lead and started quite far down as well, did Malin for the final. Started in 7th place. So yeah, him and Mitchell. Certainly a couple of drivers who I don't think we saw in April isolation. They're going to be ones to watch out for. Nicholas Verone got started right from the... He started 29th in that race, finished 12th. That's pretty good. For him right there, and yeah, was pretty close to the drivers ahead by the end of the race. And there's so many others as well. And the unique thing with this championship, usually in sim racing we don't actually use Grand Prix points, so usually the difference between say 1st and 8th isn't that much. You can get away with kind of lots of 8th place finishes. In this championship, that you need those race wins, you need those podiums. But at the same time, you do need that consistent high positions. We saw last season plenty of retirements for pretty much all the front runners. So if you can kind of bash in those few podiums at the start of the season, you are going to be very tricky to catch. So no, it should be really unpredictable, I think. And I'm sure there's going to be probably 10 or 11 drivers who are going to be going for the championship.
Yeah, which is exactly what we like to see, because it got extremely close, as we all know, in the last round of the championship in just at the end of that. But yeah, so it's looking really, really good. But I think we've now got some drivers into interviews. So Chris, Gemma, I think we've got Ed Jones for you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jack. We have indeed. We've got Ed Jones with us. Ed, that was an incredible race, and towards the end there, we weren't sure whether or not with Phil's final moment in that last lap of just pushing it out there, whether or not you would have the chance to get in, but the gap just wasn't quite close enough.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it was a fantastic race. Unfortunately, I didn't quite qualify well enough again, but it came through strong as the racing got underway. And that last lap, I just wasn't quite close enough. Everyone on the chat was telling me to send it in, but I wasn't quite there. But otherwise, you know, it was a good event, and really excited to race next weekend as the series gets underway again.
Absolutely. And this is a circuit you know pretty well, don't you, Ed?
Yeah, I raced here once in Indy Lights. I think I finished second there, and then I also raced there in IndyCar. So, no, it was a great track to drive in real life, and translates pretty well onto iRacing as well.
Excellent. Well done today. Great 3rd place, and we look forward to seeing more of you throughout May Isolation. Ed Jones finishing there in 3rd place, and I do believe our race winner, Liam Lawson, is with us now. Liam, that was an incredible performance that you put in there. You controlled that race from the very beginning.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a cool race. Obviously, I'm not sure what happened to Nicholas, but at the start, obviously, that put us up 2 spots to 3rd for the start, which was good. I managed to get to 2nd after the tow. Obviously, tow is massive around this track, so that helped a lot. And then it was quite difficult to follow, as I had in the first heat race, actually, which I wanted to try and clear the lead as quickly as I could so that I didn't have too much understeer. And once I did that, the race was really good.
Well, you certainly made it look like an easy win there, Liam, and we're looking forward to seeing more of you throughout the course of May Isolation.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. Well done to all of our drivers out there tonight. They were all being spotted by our former Renault Formula One talent scout, Enzo Mucci. And Enzo, throughout the week, will be letting us know which of these talents he wishes to put forward as guaranteed entry into the official May Isolation Series, which, as we announced earlier, will be broadcast on BT Sport in the UK and across YouTube for the rest of you across the world. Chris, Jack and Sam, thank you all very much for your commentary tonight. Fantastic job as always, boys. Wonderful to have you with us. And don't forget, we will be back bigger and better than April, bringing you May Isolation as of next Monday. Be careful, it's on Monday, the 11th of May for the opening race of the series. Until then, my name's Gemma Scott. I'll see you soon and take care.